Welcome to the fourth in the series of Service Catalogue webcasts brought to you by Axios Systems. I'm Barclay Ray, Axios Global Head of Services. I'll be joined today by Brian Hendry, who's our Service Development Manager. We're going to take you through a number of aspects of the reporting and metrics side of Service Catalogue, service level management, and how to do that and how to get some value out of that. This is, as I mentioned, this is the fourth in the series. We've already run three different webcasts which are available on demand, and we will, as it's the last one today, we'll also summarize at the end the key points that have come out of those four webcasts. The slides are available on the other three currently on demand, and from this session will be available within a couple of days. Those of you that have registered and attended will be made aware of that. Just a few logistics as we go through the session today. We will be asking you some questions, some polled questions, which help to give us information, particularly that helps us that we can feed back to you during the webcast, because we get the results dynamically, and they tend to be around about, the maturity of your processes and so on, so that we can actually comment on them as we go. You can also ask us questions. Simply follow the on-screen instructions, and again we can respond to those live during the session and hopefully give you some real-time dynamic feedback on your questions and issues. So the content that we're going to cover today, obviously we're still talking about Service Catalogue, so we'll just briefly introduce some aspects of that, and particularly if you've been in the other webcasts in the series, where the focus of definition around that is about how we can make it work with metrics, how we can make reporting really effective, really bringing out the business value from your service management operation. Then Brian's going to take you through a few aspects in terms of making the most of metrics, what they are, what kind of metrics we might be able to produce, what the benefits are, and some good top tips around about that. That'll be the sort of central part of the discussion. Then we'll have some summary points for the whole series. We looked at business case, we looked at designing services, and we also looked at implementation, getting customers engaged, and so on. So that will be a more general discussion at the end, and we can also discuss your questions and give you some feedback. That's our agenda. In terms of who are we, well, we're Axios Systems. We've been doing service management. We don't do anything else. We've been doing it for over 20 years, very much in tandem with the development of ITIL from the late 80s, and that goes through a number of different versions of our award-winning Assist software. We've most recently launched Assist 9, which includes an extensive and very function-rich service catalogue component, and that includes what we call the Service Designer, and also software as a service as a way of actually engaging with us. But you'll see that we've got global presence. We've been around for over 20 years, and service management is what we do. Okay, so just to kick off, a few points about what we think Service Catalogue is. And I can guarantee that even if you've all done your ITIL training, and you've got 10 of you in a room, and somebody says, what is Service Catalogue? Give me a definition. You're going to get 10 different definitions. Maybe, hopefully not too different, but everybody's got a slightly different understanding and take of what this is. And I think it's fair to say that until more recently, ITIL hasn't provided a lot of the answers in this area. It's provided more of a scenario or an end game as to what Service Catalogue should be doing and what SLAs might look like. But how you get there is still quite an issue. And I guess that's the feature of these webcast series that we're trying to put together, is to provide practical and pragmatic guidance. Excuse me. So just to give you some quick definitions, the very common interpretation of what a service catalogue is some kind of nicely prepared front-end portal that users can access, customers can access, and quickly get to without having to be IT experts, get to the service that they require. That's the definition of a catalogue. We provide a nice glossy, user-friendly set of information about what services are available. The difference nowadays, I guess, is that we can go further than that and actually provide that service directly, much as you would if you went online and bought from Amazon.com or iTunes or whatever other online retail organizations. So I guess the focus of this has really got to be about trying to be similar to that, make people feel comfortable that it's intuitive, they don't have to go on a training course to use it. That's our view of our AssistNet portal, but the user request view, which is what that is only just really the tip of the iceberg in terms of what a service catalog is. And we have other elements that have been introduced within ITIL version 3 to think about. What we've probably done in the past, many organizations, is we've kind of mashed all this stuff up. We've tried to put all our service catalog information perhaps into a spreadsheet that everybody gets access to, and very much a lot of the information isn't relevant to almost everybody, and nobody's really happy with it. I think what we're saying now is that we should be thinking about breaking up the components of the service catalog as required by a different audience, by different people. So those users who just simply need to order and buy a service, they don't need to see anything other than that front end. The business view is very much for your business customers, so that the management of your customers, the people who would negotiate your SLA and would then want to have business type reporting coming back, rather than, they don't need to know about the technical side or the organizational side. They just want to know what's the demand been, has the SLA been met, if it's been breached, why, what's been done to remedy that in future. And if we split that then from what the IT organization sees or needs to see, which is the technical service catalog view, that is all your IT information, technical supply chain, component level, your CIs, and particularly at the organizational and sort of contractual level, operational level agreements, underpinning contracts, and so on. So this is what the IT department sees and needs to see to produce or to deliver the supply chain that the business has asked for. And at the other end, you've got the actual system users, and what they see is just what they need to see. And I think that applies, if we're talking about reporting today, then that's a really good principle to work on, is that we should be providing relevant information in a in an appropriate format to different groups of people. We can't have a sort of one-fits-all type reporting, which was what we've tended to do in IT, I guess. An example of, again, a little more detail of what the content of what would be involved in this user request level. They've got the nice portal, the nice online portal. The business view is probably going to be looking at reports, and we'll have a high-level definition of services. We don't need to go into great level of detail there, but they will be involved in discussing, negotiating, agreeing what those services are, whereas the IT organization is looking at the MDB, the relationships, the workflow, and the overall complete structure of the services and the service offerings. So you can see from that both in terms of inputs and outputs, in terms of reports and content, there's different audiences, and they're all going to be looking for different things and using different things. Very much the IT department is a user at the behind the scenes, the back office level. The users are users at the front end level, and the business people are just looking at the information that they need to see. And that's a great principle in terms of how you set up your reporting. What does the service catalog actually do? Well, if you think about it in slightly more internal IT terms, what we're trying to do is bridge this gap between our actual business performance, how many cars or boxes of soap or cornflakes we actually sell as an organization, And at the other end, we've got our infrastructure, our IT infrastructure, with usually quite a good understanding of how that works, how it all hangs together, how it's related. We've usually got some kind of intelligent representation of that in our configuration management system that we use to measure performance, availability. We understand the configuration relationships and so on. And quite probably with our own ITIL developments over the years, we've maybe implemented some of these key processes. The issue really in terms of bridging the gap with the business is that we're not able to report and demonstrate to the business how we are not just managing this, because we do that, but how we are in managing this, supporting them to sell those boxes of soap or cornflakes. We're not able to say specifically about incidents or about items or about anything that we're doing, how that relates to the service that's being delivered by the organization as a whole. And so our reporting tends to be internal only and not particularly well appreciated by customers. However, if we use the service catalog concept so that we're actually taking component level CIs from here and bundling them into business services, and these icons represent different views, providing different information to different people, we're going to get a lot more value from those processes, because we can then say, right, well, incident management relating to the boxing process or the delivery process or the actual manufacture of the cornflakes. These are all different processes. We can actually apply what we're doing in IT much more specifically to business services. It also helps us to be a bit more agile in terms of change, because we understand much better in a much more prioritized and business-focused way what we've got in business terms. And what that really allows us to do then is to differentiate our services and differentiate the way that we deliver them. We might use different models, multi-sourcing model, insourcing, outsourcing, depending on the type of service and the nature of it. If it's a commodity, then really we're just looking at cost. Whereas if quality or time to market is important to us, we can manage that in a slightly different way. But again, we're still able to say, this is how we deliver that service, and this is how well we reported against that. Another way of looking at this is to say that, yeah, well, we're good at producing reporting on what IT actually does. If we look at it from a supply chain perspective again, maybe a customer makes an order which is received by the organization. It's passed through in terms of distribution. Do we have that item? Where do we have that item? Can we get it sensibly to the customer? Which is then transferred into fulfillment, putting it onto trucks and vans and actually delivered back to the customer. Now, if we think of our IT reporting in those terms and try and actually measure what we are doing in relation to specific processes or stages in a process, it's much more tangible to the customer, it's much more business focused, and it allows us to be in our delivery as well as our reporting much more reactive and able to manage with much better sense of priority, control and efficiency. For example, we might have some IT measures that we look at here and here and here and here, and they may all be measuring the same things, but they may actually be different types of reporting, different stages. We may look at, for example, availability rather than just blanket availability 24/7. We might look at it at specific times when that process is in place or as part of that process. And so on. We should be starting to think about how we actually are delivering the service to the business as opposed to just measuring what we do.